scared that I'm going to run away. All right. Hold on. I have to rearrange everything. I'm a control freak. Sorry. All right. How's that? Can you hear me, Vince? My tag guy right here. Good? Can you hear me? Good? Okay, good. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out to Charlotte, Michigan. Some of you hopefully drove from a different place. Yes, okay, but just keep it quiet, okay? My time right now. We're going to talk later. Some of you know my real name. I will explain later why there is Polinna on, the flyers and everything. My name is Ina Phelps. Some people call me crazy Russian. I take it as a compliment, I do. And, I've been in the United States for 17 years, and people still ask me, oh, you're from Russia. How do you like it here? And I'm thinking, well, it's been 17 years ago, but, I'm like, it's different. Moving from Russia to United States is the same of moving from the Earth to Moon. I mean, it's that different. And, after 17 years, whether is it a good move, is it a bad move, you get used to everything. Human beings get used to, I don't know, a bad dental bridge in their mouth or tight shoes, so I'm good, right? I'm already not really Russian, but not really American because I still have an accent. And, there's a T-shirt I just saw online. It literally, sums it up for me. It says, you can take the girl out of Russia, but you cannot take Russia out of the girl. So that's why 17 years later, and I'm still going on and on about my country. And so for some of you who doesn't know me, I work at elementary school here in Charlotte with kids. It's a lot of fun. And I work in the salon. And, a while ago, while I was doing hair, I realized that I'm doing the storytelling for each particular person in my chair. And, I probably started off a little bit because I was not sure with my English, and then it went on. And I got to the point, and this is when it clicked for me that I have to go and perform, when I had this lady in my chair, and she was a walk-in client, and I'm doing her hair, and I go on and on. I give her this story and that story, and I see that the energy of what I was telling her is literally like pressing her. She's sitting like this. and she looked at me, and she goes, who are you? And I'm like, well, I'm a hairstylist. She goes, no, I got that part. I love the hair, but who the heck are you? Because that's a lot. She's like, that's it's a lot of entertainment. And it was a compliment for me, but then I realized, I could probably fried somebody's brain like this, so I need to widen it, So as I tell you before, I moved from Russia 17 years ago, not from China. I hope you guys are listening. I might throw in a couple misfacts and see who is sleeping in here. My comfort zone is still behind the chair. So I was really hoping that somebody with a long hair can come up here. And we're going to do a little warm-up. I'm going to do your hair. And I'll show you how it is usually in the salon. So, okay, just come up. I'm a professional. Come up. Don't get me ready for it. Yeah. You've done my hair before. Okay. Okay, I did not plan that, okay? I was ready for anybody. Yeah, oh, look who is here. Hello. And you're not going to sing for us today?
Do you have scissors?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's a tricky client. When I braid her hair, she doesn't like it too flat. How am I supposed to braid her hair? All right, have a seat. Come on in.
I thought you were talking about me when you first said somebody in your chair, just saying,
No, can I tell you this story about her,
no.
by the way?
Okay, here we go.
The freak out moment, remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
No, okay, we're going to save it.
Wine.
Yeah, she does. Do we have wine right now? I'll do her hair.
And they provided it, thank you.
Right. Okay, let me do this.
Right.
Okay, so the mic is mine right now. I know you're a great singer.
I won't sing.
Right, don't say anything. Hold on. Here. So what I'm going to do right now, while we're talking, Hold on, stand up for a second. This is what I do in the salon too. Stand up. Don't move, don't talk.
I'm not any taller.
Go that way. No, that's fine.
Which way?
No, you sit down, facing that way. Yeah, this is exactly how in the salon. People get confused with me a lot.
I know.
All right, so you don't like too much of, well, how about like half braid like we did last time, maybe a little
What do
bit?
you want me to take?
Okay.
Take off my glasses or my
Sure,
earrings?
only the glasses. Do not take anything off.
It's a
We have kids.
kid-friendly show,
I
right,
counted
right?
3 kids,
I promise.
at least, so yeah.
I won't take any other thing off.
I swear I did not plant that. I swear. All right, I got some stuff here.
Sorry, Charlene. She wanted something a little bit more risque back here.
No, that's okay.
But not tonight.
That's all
sweetheart.
right. Hey, free hairstyle, right?
Yeah, hey.
So this is what I do in the salon. Okay. Shut it. My show. My show. Okay. Okay, don't move your head. I swear. How much did you drink already today?
I'm not supposed to talk.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, you tell me later. So anyways, when I'm, in the salon with my clients, and this is what I do, and we always chit-chatting, and so I usually ask them, don't worry about the hairstyle. First of all, you can get it down after we're done. Second of all, do you know the difference between good haircut and bad haircut? 2 weeks. This is what I learned. That was the first thing I learned in my cosmetology school. So they said, don't worry about it. If you mess it up, sometimes it's too bad. You don't want to mess it up too much, right? Here's another hairstyle and cosmetology joke. That's Russian, actually. This woman is standing by the mirror. Okay, now I need you to move a little bit. This way, here. Well, because of the mic,
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this woman is standing in her bedroom by the mirror, and she put the gas mask on. She turns around, and she asks her husband, honey, how do I look? And he goes, sweetie, did you wax your eyebrows? This is how the man paid attention, right? All right. I'm not going to do too much because, her patience is running out with me. Yeah, ha.
She knows me too well.
Yes. Well, we only had, one freak out moment before the wedding. Should I tell them that story? I swear I did not plan that. Seriously.
Just don't say the word I said.
No, I'm not. No, there is kids here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'll say the word freaking, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so, guys, I work at school. You did not hear that from me. We did. So anyways, there were, your son was getting married, right?
Yep.
And she came in and she said, I need an updo. It would be hot. Let's pin it all up. Okay, well, I think I did a great job. We pinned it all up. Yeah, I did. And then, but she doesn't like her hair up. We figured out the wrong way, right? And so the hair was done, and she goes to get her nails done across the street. Needless to say, it was Celebrate Charlotte or whatever it was. Frontier Day. So there's like...
Go right in front of the praise hearse.
Shh, I'll tell him, sorry.
Okay.
Anyways,
Die,
so
okay?
she's done, and I go outside to watch a parade a little bit, and then suddenly I see a woman running around in between the crowd screaming, I freaking hate my hair!
Oh,
And I'm like, whoa! And everybody's like turning around, and I'm like, hold on a second, shh, we'll fix it in 15 minutes. Just get in there, stop yelling, let's fix it. And we did, it was great.
She's embellishing.
Yes.
But I did that in the salon. I pretty much said that.
Oh yeah, and then
Not during the parade. Just
and then we got her like a little bit of wine, and she was happy. So
Yeah, I've always
just saying.
Yep.
All right.
For me.
So seriously, if you don't like it, you can take it down. I'm just like warming up. This is how I am. This is how I do my stories in the salon. I just braid it. Ta-da! All right, you're done. Turn around so people can see it.
She was awesome.
Thank you.
Love you. Awesome. Thank you.
I'll come and ruin your show next time.
Ah, what did I do?
You stole my thunder.
Oh,
All right.
all right.
Oh, by the way, I just read the joke, and that's exactly for you. It says, there is nothing a glass of wine and a flat iron cannot fix. So, all right. So now I feel comfortable. I feel like home, We're getting there. So I'll tell you, okay, so I say a lot of stories from Russia. And so it started off back home, this is how I become a hairstylist, I guess. What am I doing wrong? No? Good? So, here. When I was 3 years old, I found scissors. Right, guys? And so I decided to cut my bangs. So I cut it to the scalp. Like literally, it was like all this was shaved right here. And so I still have a picture. It's really sad. When I looked at that picture back home, it was okay. But now when I'm in the United States, it's a black and white picture. And I have this like old-fashioned dress, and I look like a Russian orphan because like I have no hair there. Like it's little stubs. So I guess my mom said, this is when I figure out you're probably going to be a hairstylist. And then when I was 6 years old, I was at home, and my grandma stepped out somewhere, and the neighbor came in. And that was the time when we didn't have disposable razors. We actually have, remember those old-fashioned ones, like razors? So the neighbor came in, and she was 20-something years old, and she said, Ina, I usually borrow the razors from your grandma. Can I just have this one? And I said, sure. And then I don't know what she shaved with that. She probably washed it. But then she brought it back. And I'm here. I'm 6 years old, right? Grandma's not here. She just brought the razor. I'm like, And I shaved my eyebrows. Completely clean. So, and it would be fine. Grandma didn't even notice. But that particular day, somebody came up with the trip to go see my mom, who was in college that time. My mom kind of started college later. So, and I forgot, Grandma didn't notice. I forgot I shaved my eyebrows. I forgot that I looked like a little alien. So we drive up to Mom's school, and I'm here, happy-go-lucky, running out to see my mom. And she's like, oh, my God, what happened to her? And Grandma's like, what? She goes, she has no eyebrows. What happened with my child? And Grandma's like, what did you do? And I was really scared of my grandma, so I said, I didn't do it, the neighbor did it. And Grandma said, why would she do that? I said, I don't know. She came in, she said hi, and shaved my eyebrows. So Grandma is like, I'm going to show her. So we're driving home, and on the ride back, I'm like hoping and praying that Grandma's going to forget it. But Grandma was like, she was kind of like a drill sergeant in skirt. So she doesn't forget the revenge things, right? She's like steaming. So we got to the house, and at this point, I realized I'm doomed. I literally crawl under the bed because Grandma is marching to the neighbor, screaming and cursing at her. Then 5 minutes later, they figure stuff out, so I can hear, where are you? Oh, it was bad. It was bad. So I don't know. My eyebrows grew back, obviously, but I think it grew like literally very, very light. And so even in high school, people were telling me, are you plucking your eyebrows? Because it was very fashion, so they think I was like really cool. I'm like, no, I don't have any eyebrows. Like seriously, I don't pluck any. There's nothing to pluck. But they grew up a little bit, so now thank God I'm in cosmetology, so I can like, camouflage a lot of things. So so I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Girls. Shh. I know. I'm telling them. It's okay. It's gonna be recess soon, okay? We're gonna get them a recess. What school are you guys in? Oh, and I'm at Washington. That's why I don't know you. All right. So, anyways, about a couple years ago, I started performing in Charlotte. I did the free shows at the library. No, you distracted me. I did the, here, I'll look it up, retirement home. I did the show there. I did a couple shows at CPAC. And so today, what? Yes. Yeah, that's where I met you. Yes. That was the doomsday for me. I know. That's like a new chapter of my life started. So anyways, the big difference of today's show compared to what I did before is today we started charging for me to perform. So yeah, good for you guys. But on the lighter note, on the positive note, I always try to look for positive things in life. So I'll tell you that the tickets are really cheap. I'm hoping to perform more, so therefore my ticket's gonna go up. So you guys gonna be like, hey, remember when the tickets was only like $8 or $7? Now it's like 700, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And then also today, I'm introducing my stage name as Polinna. My name is Ina, but it's kind of a made up, very significant meaning for me because I dedicated to my grandfather, who was my biggest fan. He's not with us anymore, but I still feel him. And so the name Polinna is connected to him. And, for privacy purposes, I feel like, I might get more stuff online, so I kind of feel like it should be more protected. And the same, I'm thinking, so today I'm just Polinna, right? But then I'm thinking, hopefully before more, I'll introduce my first and middle name. It would be Polina Petrovna. And then if I'm really famous, I'll get to the last name I made up for myself, Polina Petrovna Fursov. So we'll get one step at a time, right? So I want to tell you what's going on today at Windwalkers. This is a really cool place. If you guys local and hopefully you've been here before, you know about this place. I bring a lot of my friends from different other places to show around. My mom visited from New York the other day, and so I brought her here. Well, it was not the other day, it was the other week. And so I brought her in here, and she goes, oh my God, she goes, I live in New York, and there is like so many cool places, but you live in Charlotte. It's such a small place, but like, whoa. I told the guys, I said, can I get her upstairs on the rooftop? Because there's like a VIP rooftop. You guys need to charge for going up there because it's really cool. And so my mom was very impressed with stuff which is going on, especially in this art gallery, because it's very neat. It's nothing what I've seen before. And so my friends work here, and they're really cool. I think I've been very lucky in life with having awesome friends. You network, you communicate, people are awesome, especially people are awesome in Michigan. That's why I'm here. And so they invited me to perform here. And I did a couple open mics here. And then they said, well, we would like to sell something for you. And I'm like, I have nothing to sell, but I have a lot of ideas. So I actually found a person in Russia who is a really good, she is how do you call it? Dressmaker, tailor. Exactly. So I called up this girl, and I never met her before, but we kind of got together online. And so I talked to her. She's from my hometown, and I said, hey, could you do something for me? Like, I really want to create something really awesome. And she goes, what do you want? And so I look online, and then I come up with different designs. So the stuff you saw on that little shelf over there, it's one of a kind. It's actually handmade in Russia. She mailed it over to me. So I created those pillows and the matching small nesting doll hugging pillows for like a little girl or a little boy. So we made that. She made it for me. She sent it over. I finished it up. Then we did the bags. I actually own one of my nesting doll bags. It's literally, I was carrying it around for 24/7 for maybe 2 or 3 months. That bag is really good. Nothing happens with that. It's a good quality. So if you ever want to purchase something like this, I cannot guarantee that I can make more of those because, I have ADD. I'm always on to new projects. So when this is gone, it's gone. I don't know what else I will come up with. Hopefully not like people who work with iron or something, because you cannot mail it over, that's for sure. And so also today, when you walk in, you probably saw all this stuff for travel agency. I have an explanation for that. There's a big idea behind it. My friend Serena is here, and she's the owner of that travel agency. And I'll tell you more details later about it. But she's my sponsor. We kind of paired up. We are good friends. She's my client. And we decided we want to work together. And so when she opened her travel agency, I said, I would really like to advertise it for you and bring people to your business so I can get a free travel. So that's why we work together. But we'll talk a little more. I have a whole dedicated spiel for that. And so, anyways, I have a lot and lots of crazy stories. It's so funny because I'm thinking, okay, I did so many performances. I should run out from stories by now, right? It keeps surfacing up. Like the other day, I was getting ready for this performance, and I actually remembered when I was little, me and my mom, it was somebody else. I was probably, I would say I was 6 years old, maybe around that area. And I was a very, not chubby kid, but I was really healthy. Like, I had those red cheeks all the time. Like, people always comment on it, people trying to pinch my cheeks all the time. And so me and my mom and a couple other relatives, we actually went to the shore. There was like a seashore. It's a Black Sea coast. I think we got on the bus. There is like 8 hours drive on the bus. It's very slow bus. You probably can get there for 4 hours. Anyways, and they do like, they have the wooden cabins there, and you rent a cabin, and everybody's going and bathing in the Black Sea. It was amazing time. So the cabin, where the cabin's at, there was like literally the whole campsite of it. And so what happens is we're having vacation there. And usually I go, it was safer times, I guess. And so my mom just let me roam around, look for other kids, So I walk around, and people, because of my healthy cheeks, they were always trying to feed me. I would think it should be opposite, right? I already have the cheeks, don't feed me. But for some reason, everybody had this uncontrollable urge to give me food. And my mom was always yelling at me that I eat. She's like, would you stop taking food? And I'm like, well, they're giving me food. What do you mean stop getting it? Like, not that I'm taking it. So anyways, that's like a backstory. So I'm walking around, blah, blah, blah. And then there is this woman cooking lunch. She has a table outside, and she's cutting this. It was like a smoked ham or something, like this huge one, big pieces. And so I walk around, and I see ham, and I was thinking, don't look. Because if I look, she's going to give it to me, and my mom's going to yell at me. And so I'm trying to pass by and not looking. And, of course, sure enough, she looked over, and she goes, oh, hi, honey, come here. And I'm like, oh, no. And she goes, would you like a piece, like a huge chunk of it? And I'm like, okay, thanks. So I got the ham, and I'm carrying it like back to my mom, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm trying to like what should I do? And so my mom sees me, and she's like, what is this? I'm like, it's a ham, obviously. And she said, where did you get it? And I was thinking, okay, if I tell her that the woman gave it to me, she's gonna get mad at me, right? And so I decided to come up with better idea, like better, story. And I said, I stole it. And my mom goes, what? And so she spanked me. And then while I was crying, I'm like, I didn't steal it. This woman gave it to me. My mom goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you tell me? I said, well, you always yell at me that people feeding me. So I thought stealing is better. So this is when I learned that stealing is bad for you. You're not supposed to do that. And so that's, one of my stories. And then another story I remember being, I was a teenager, the teenagers out there, like you feel so self-conscious about yourself. I mean, God, you do your hair for 1.5 hours, you do the makeup, and then you spend another 1 hour to hide it from your parents because you don't want to look like that. And, they're just constantly, you think that everybody's talking about you, everybody. So I remember I was going to school, and I had a skirt on, and I was lazy, so I didn't put the button on it. So I just had a clothespin or something. So I'm walking around. Thank God I had a jacket over and it was long. So I'm walking around and I'm so self-conscious. I'm thinking the skirt is kind of a little bit short. So I'm trying to pull it down a little bit, right? Genius. I have a clothespin on. What would happen? So I'm pulling it down. And then as I'm stepping forward, the skirt is longer. And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly the length I want. And then the skirt is on the floor. I'm in the middle of the street in Russia, people walk in Russia. There's a crowd of people, and there's cars, and I'm like, oh my God, going to school like this. Yeah, I put the button on it. I actually put 2 buttons just in case. Yeah. Once, I grew up with my grandparents, actually. So one day I decided I just don't want to go to school. It was elementary school. I was good at school, good student. But just one morning, I was just lazy. You have to get up in the morning. You have to go by yourself. We're Russian kids. Parents don't make breakfast for you. You make it yourself. And so I was at 2nd grade, I think. And so I decided to play a spy. I'm not going to go to school. And my grandpa would think that I still went to school because grandpa was at home. So I knew grandpa's schedule. He is going in the morning and do something in his garage. I don't know what he was doing there. For years and years, Grandpa was in the garage. Nothing was ever done. I thought he was building like a nuclear weapon there somewhere. I think he was drinking, actually, because after he passed away, we found like a hole, like it was like a hole in the ground with a lot of homemade wine. So Grandpa is in the garage. Nobody ever questions what he does there till like a certain time. And then he always took naps during the day. Grandpa was like a clock. 12 o'clock, he needs to nap. 20 minutes. He lays down at 12. 12:20, he's all refreshed. And he says that he was sleeping. So I'm thinking, okay, my master plan was, I was planning it for probably, well, I decided I don't want to go to school like 2 days prior to, so I start plotting it. So Grandpa went to the garage, so I'm thinking, he's thinking that I went to school, so I am safe in the house. So I'm doing whatever, playing, whatever. By 12 o'clock, I was climbing in the closet. I was thinking, if I'll sit in the closet while he's napping, and then when he's done napping, he can go somewhere, and then he'll come back, and I'm home. He'll be like, oh, you came home earlier. Fine, I'm not going to get in trouble. So, well, apparently I'm not meant to break the law, because whatever can go wrong went wrong. First of all, the closet was not your like walk-in closet. You guys have those. We have like the wardrobe type, you know, the furniture piece. And so I specifically put there some like pillows and blankets in there, put a toy. I didn't risk to put the snacks in because I was thinking I might, like the wrapper will make sound because Grandpa was sleeping in the same room. I don't know why I was not hiding in a different closet in a different room. Now when it, I don't know. Okay, maybe that closet was bigger. Anyways, so right before 12 o'clock, I laid in there, locked the door in, like from inside. It was very tricky. And I laid on my pillows, and I'm ready to wait. And I'm waiting and waiting, and you have to be very silent. So I hear Grandpa comes around, lays on the couch. He started napping. And at this point, he just laid down. I realized I'm running out of oxygen. So I'm laying there getting super hot and like literally thinking about my life at this moment. Like, first of all, why did I ever? Second of all, why did I not think about that there's only a certain amount of air inside that closet? So then I started getting really uncomfortable because at this point, like the way I was laying down, my legs were up on the wall of the wardrobe. So the legs started getting really painful. And that was like I literally reconsidered my whole life at this point, and that was only 5 minutes in. And I cannot turn, and I'm sweating bullets, and my legs are really sore. And I'm thinking, okay, does that worth it to die in that closet? Or should I just come out clean and tell Grandpa that I didn't go to school? And then it was embarrassment, me coming out, and he looked, and he like, what are you doing there? Oh my God, it was bad. So by like 12:10, I decided that I'm not gonna die in the closet. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. It's okay. Grandpa loves me, so he'll understand. So I opened it a little bit, gave myself a little bit of fresh air. Then I opened it a little bit. Then I crawled out. Right now, I'm thinking it was probably the picture. Remember that movie, The Ring, when the girl was crawling out of the well or something? Because I was really sweaty at this point. So this is exactly how I was coming out of the closet. And so I crawled out. Grandpa is still sleeping. So I kind of like wiggled myself around the corner to the next room, right? And so like I'm sitting there, my heart is like racing, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like trying to come up with excuses and this and that. And then Grandpa got up, and I hear he walked away. So my plan technically worked. He didn't know that I was in the closet. He thought I was at school. And so I'm like, oh, good. So maybe if I just put my uniform on and exit from one and then come in from, while I'm thinking about it, Grandpa just like showed up in my room. He's like, why didn't you go to school? And I'm like, he goes, well, that sucks. He goes, I'm hoping that you're going to go to school tomorrow, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, fine. And he just left. I'm like, dude, I still have pillows and a blanket in that closet. I almost died there. Like, seriously, the tragedy of my life, elementary school, like, breakthrough. And he's like, okay. I'll tell you. I'm surprised how did I, like, not die in Russia several times, actually. Because I'm not that smart. I'm creative, but not that smart, apparently. I have a story for you. Sorry, I have like a cheat sheet here because I have a lot of stuff. So I was in the United States already, and I think my second time I went back home to Russia, I was visiting all my friends, and so I was visiting some of my friends, and I was asking them about my ex-boyfriend because I was really good friend back when we were dating. His mom was like my best friend. So like my former or like my non-existent mother-in-law. So I was talking to my friends and I started asking, how's he doing, blah, blah, blah. How's his mom? And then they're like, oh, she's fine. We saw her. Oh, she looks really old. And I'm like, oh, that's bad. She was such a beautiful woman. They're like, yeah. And so we talked, and then needless to say, like literally the next day, I'm going to this facility. It's kind of like clinic, not clinic, treatment, not treatment. We have a lot of weird organizations in Russia. And so people come there for treatment, right? So I was getting a treatment there because I had some health issues, and I was, in the United States, everything is so expensive, it's easy to go to Russia. And again, I'm not that smart, so I didn't realize that there is really not local people don't go there. People who come from another cities go there. But oh well. So I go there, or I was sitting there in that facility, and the door opens, and that mother-in-law comes in, my ex. And I'm like, wow, that's like so many years, and we just talked about her, right? And I'm thinking, gosh, she looks so good. I'm thinking, why did they tell me that, she looks old? She looks exactly like I remember her 10 years ago. And so she sees me, I see her, and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, oh my God. And we're like hugging and kissing. And she sat right next to me and she goes, how are you? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, I was just thinking about you. We were just talking about you, with so-and-so. And she goes, oh, she kind of like she didn't recognize their names. And I was like, well, that was a long time ago. She might not remember the best friend of her son and his wife. Okay, that's fine. And so we're talking, and she goes, so where have you been? And I was thinking, well, that's weird. Everybody knows I live in the United States. That's like big news, right? And I'm like, I live in America. She goes, get out of here. And I'm like, I'm again, like the little like weird vibe. I'm like, how does she not know that, right? And then I'm thinking, why does she look so good? It's been 10 years. Why does she look like I just saw her yesterday? But that's her. I mean, I know it's her. And she's like, oh, tell me about it. Are you married? Da, da, da. Do you have kids? And I said, well, how are you, right? And she goes, oh, me and my 3 kids. And I'm thinking, she had 1 son. I know that for sure. And I was thinking, hold on a second. He got married. He had 2 girls of his own. So maybe she's counting my son and 2 girls, right? She said my 3 kids. I'm thinking, okay, fine. And so as we talk more, and she is super affectionate. I mean, she's holding my hand, she keeps patting me. And then I realize it's a wrong woman. I'm thinking, Ina, you are so stupid. You're the only local person here. Everybody who comes here from Siberia, because we're in South, they come from North to get their health, straightened or whatever, improved. So, like, in the middle of our conversation, I realized it's a wrong person. It's my mother-in-law's probably like karmic twin or something. She is the age of my mother-in-law 10 years ago. She's probably from some of the northern, parts of Russia. And I got so sad. She's talking to me, and I was thinking, how would I bring up the news to her that I don't know her? And I'm thinking, who does she think I am? I mean, she was the first one to hug me. Like, literally, I just, locked eyes with her, and she goes, oh, honey. And I'm like, ugh. So I had the emotional breakdown, it was like you get married and got divorced at the same time, that much of the emotions, because we just met after so many years and she looks good, and then whoa, it's not even her. So then I start talking to her like she's a mental patient, because I don't want to break the truth, right? So I am like, okay, all right, well, I guess I gotta go. She goes, where are you going? And I'm like, no, do not give her information. I mean, anything I say from now on, she might actually realize. I'm like, and I keep thinking, who does she think I am? Like, how does she know me? And so, yeah. So I like to act, so I just acted like, oh, ooh, look at the time, I gotta go. And then we hugged and kissed again. That was so weird. Because at this point, I didn't know her. So yeah, I don't know where that lady is. She is such a beautiful soul. I hope I never broke her heart. Because I hope she never realized. I'm thinking, was she drunk? Like, was there ever a part of her, like a part in her life, a time where she was sitting and thinking, who was that? Because she never asked for my name. But she was hugging me. So, I mean, stuff like this, you know. Crazy, crazy stuff. Among a lot of my crazy hobbies, I have one passion, and that's theater. And, you know, it started off, I was probably in 4th grade in Russian school, you know, very communist school. In 4th grade, we were doing something dedicated to the victory, you know, the Second World War victory, which, just news flash for you, Russia won that. Because people keep telling me that America won. No. Second World War, 1941 through 1945, we won it. You guys helped us. But people keep telling me, and I'm like, how did you guys fight the war if you're not on the same continent? Just, you know, just think about it. Anyways, so we were doing something at school, and there was a big thing. Our principal was there, and one of my teachers came up to me, and I was probably in the 4th grade. And she said, hey, Ina, you're really good at literature. You're really good at reading poems and stuff. You know, she's like, can you read this for us on stage? She's like, all you need to do is just memorize it, come on stage and read it. And she said, it's part of a book. And it's a monologue of the mother who lost her kids in the war. I said, sure. So I went home, I memorized everything. Right before that show, when I had to go on stage, I was thinking, oh, she said it was a grieving mom, so I'll put a black scarf on or something, right? Appropriate. So I'm sitting, they put me in one of the first row to wait for my turn. 4th grade, guys, 4th. So I'm sitting and I'm listening to everything they're saying there. There was somebody was singing the songs about it. Somebody was talking about grief and how much people we lost. And suddenly my monologue, the one I memorized for myself, it all sunk in, way deeper than the 4th grader can actually comprehend. And so it all made sense to me. And so then the magic happened. I got on stage, and I was that mother who lost 4 kids on the war. So I started reading my monologue, and I got so into it that apparently I had tears coming down. And then I look over, and our principal, it was a lady, she's just sitting there just bawling, like, oh my God. And then all the teachers are crying, and the kids are sitting like, what? How did she do that? And this is the moment when I realized that I really like theater. I'm good at that. It's something magical. When I'm actually on stage, I don't remember a lot of stuff. I would remember those giggling girls, though. But the rest of the stuff is going to be a blur. And so one thing I noticed, we were doing the play 2 years ago here at the courthouse. And so one thing I know that I don't like when people tell me break a leg. It's American tradition, I learned that. And so I tell people, well, come and see me, you know, I'm in the play. And everybody's like, break a leg, break a leg. Well, apparently I'm very perceptive to the suggestions. So right after our first show, I'm like, oh, we did it good. You know, right after our first show, we were going backstage, and there was wooden floor, and somebody spilled some water in there, and I went down like a log. So literally, I twisted the ankle really bad. So the rest of the performance, we had like 3 or 4 shows. I'm limping on stage, and I have it all wrapped up. And people are like, what happened to you? And I'm like, stop telling me break a leg. Seriously, people. Seriously. Wish me money or something. Or just say, you know, you skinny. Very skinny. Also, I remember in my hometown, which is south of Russia, we have a lot of tourists coming in, and we had this beautiful musical theater. It's called the Musical Theater. It was not big, but it was really good quality. They actually had, they had like a constant actors there. It was a big thing. And so when I was in college, I met this girl who was from Latin America. She was a foreigner. Her name was Katya. I was very surprised with a Russian name from Latin America, but I guess they were also communists. I don't know. Anyways, so my friend Katya, she she was in the dorm during vacation when all the, everybody left home. And so I decided I was her tour guide. I took her in to show her the places, in my city, and then this and that. And I said, Katya, do you like theater? And she goes, yeah. And again, needless to say, that time, communist Russia just ceased to be, and it was Soviet Russia, blah, 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 Russian Federation. So, it's very uptight community, right? And Katya knows that. She knows where she came from, where she came to. And so I took her to a musical theater, and then they had a ballet troupe there. And so they're singing and dancing, and she's very impressed, and she's looking. And then suddenly, for some reason, one of the ballerinas, she reached over, and both of her straps popped. And she goes, bam, sorry girls, boobs. And Katya goes, wow! I'm like, oh my God! We don't see that even on TV, whoa! And poor girl, she doesn't know what to do, so she's finishing the dance with the boobs out. I mean, she's ballerina, it's not really big ones, but still, definitely boobs there. And Katya is like, whoa! She said, I heard that Russia is following some European trends, but I did not know you guys implement it. I'm like, yeah, we do that. I think the next performance, even though we didn't have cell phones that time, the next performance was a sellout. I think the girl actually fixed her dress, but people were waiting. Maybe Russia started following some, maybe a Swedish trends or something. I don't know, but it was hilarious. I remember her eyes go, and I'm like, oh my God. Oops. Yeah. I really like stage. But I screw up a lot on stage, and I think that's why people like me, that I'm a big screw up on stage. So last summer, I got into that program, I was not even age appropriate. I don't know how I do stuff, probably my accent, I get into things. So there was a musical workshop, and the age was from 6 to 20. I'm not 20. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I'm way not 20. So I signed up, and they actually admitted me. And then when I come and I brought my kids in, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, they said, we have young people, but we have one adult. I'm like, that's me. And so I got into program, and I didn't even know what I'm doing, but there was this awesome guy from Britain. His name was Peter Carey. I'm sure some of you guys heard about him. He performs once in a while. So what he does, he comes, it's called big stage music to little theaters or something like this. And so he comes to little communities, and he takes kids and young adults and teenagers, and then he teaches them how to sing songs from musical, and then you perform. And you only have 5 days. Literally 5 days, it was very intense. So we learned how to sing, and Peter, I think he kind of felt sorry for me because I was very odd. And so he gave me a song, and I said, I never sang before. He goes, it's okay, And so, he said, it's okay, it's okay. He had perfect hair. And so he rehearsed with me. While we were rehearsing, he made me sing and dance Russian traditional songs. Thank God nobody was recording that. And so we practiced. I put my heart in, and soul into that song. And so when we were practicing, he was standing far away from me. But then when we got on stage, he actually, first what happened, he introduced me. He said, we have kids of different age. We have little kids, we have teenagers, and then we have this person. I call her, how did he call me? A senior teenager of undetermined age. That was me. And then he said, did you hear that, Ina? I was behind stage. And so when I came out, he said, she never sang before, and I'm very excited, blah, blah, blah. And so we started singing. We were singing Suddenly Seymour together. And when we were singing, and he has this amazing voice. The guy is super talented. He's Phantom of the Opera guy. This is how he got. I see his Facebook stuff. He sings on stage of thousands of people. This is how cool it was. And here he's in CPAC in Charlotte, and I'm with him, right? And so when he sings, I literally have goosebumps. It's amazing. It's mesmerizing. So when you're singing, you hear him, you react on his voice, then you have to remember what you sing, and you have to hit every note. It's very complicated. Singing is amazingly complicated. And then he was in character, and he started touching me. So he starts singing like my boyfriend, and he like touched my hair, and he like brushed like over my shoulder, and I blanked out. So I was singing, and then I opened my mouth, and all the words were gone. and then the music is keep going, and I'm like, oh my God, like nothing. And he goes, Ina, did you forget the words? And I said, Peter, you distracted me. He goes, well, sorry. And at this point, I kind of like, I snapped out of it, and I remember the words, and we were singing. So a lot of people thought that we actually planned on that little comedy thing in there. I totally blanked out. It's very dangerous when you guys are around talented people. I'm okay, I'm safe, but when you're around talented people, they have this magic about you. You forget everything. You literally, I'm thinking that I could have just hand him all my money and my newborn, firstborn child at this point. She was there too, and she loved him. So anyways, I want to talk about why we're talking about travel agency here. I'll tell you some stories from Russia, or Russian-ish stories about travel. So when I was in college, I amazingly started traveling overseas. And the first place and only place I went was the Middle East. Because the travel agency I worked for, they were taking a bunch of people and they were taking them to Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So I literally went Russia, Middle East, and the United States. The most controversial countries, or the most distant country from each other. So we had a bunch of Russian people went to celebrate New Year in Dubai, and Russian people drink everywhere. That was 17 years ago. 17 years ago, they were drinking and smoking on the planes, in the cars, on the buses. And then when they go overseas, they think that they still can act like they're back in Russia, right? So we came to a 5-star hotel, a big group. They paid a lot of money for it. And the New Year celebration was scheduled for the whole group. And I was the interpreter, and to English, not to Arabic. And so the New Year celebration was in Sheraton Hotel, 5 stars. Amazing. So every Russian person dressed up. It's summer there. During winter, it's summer. They were still wearing fur, dresses and fur. And they took a lot of vodka with them in little shopping bags. And so literally everybody's going to Sheraton, 5-star hotel, wearing a lot of money worth of outfits and bling and everything, with literally almost like Myers bags full of vodka. Celebrate New Year, right? Well, it's a different country. So they had big bouncer on the door saying, no vodka, no, take it. And Russian people what do you mean take it? What? They all screaming in Russian, no, we cannot take it. What do you mean? So he said, you are not allowed to go there with your booze. You have to buy it, right? Like you guys do everywhere. And so he confiscated all that booze. Well, it was probably, I'm thinking the group was probably 40 people. Each person probably have up to 5 bottles for New Year. That's that guy could probably open a liquor store there. So he confiscated everything. So Russian people were so upset. Oh my God. So we're there, and they have the tables they served for us. It was amazing. It was like a masterpiece. It was, oh my God. The food was spectacular. Then the waiter comes around and she says, would you like a glass of wine for $5? And Russian people for $5, do you know how much? Oh. So literally for New Year, the grown-up Russian men were crying because they had to pay for their booze. It was really interesting. It was this is when first time I understand there's a big difference between my own people and the rest of the world. I was kind of embarrassed about it. Another thing I remember when I lived in Dubai for a little bit because I was stationed there with my travel agency. And then there was a time when I had my own apartment there, and I had some, furniture and some stuff. And then I had to move back to Russia and take it with me. So some of my friends told me, why do you want to pay to transport everything and pay tons of money? They're everybody's doing the Russian cargo flight. It's a plane. And they said, all you need to do, it's cheaper for you. Like for $100, you can have like unlimited luggage there, everything, like pieces of furniture and everything. And then they said, and your ticket would be cheaper, like half a price. I'm like, where's the catch? They're like, oh, there's no catch. You just have to talk to the pilot because it's Russian team, pilot. And she said they just need to take you because they don't take anybody. They only have like 4 passenger seats. And I'm like, okay, well, I pulled some strings, got a connection, talked to the pilot. He said, sure. How many boxes do you have? They came a night before, loaded on some truck. They put it I'm thinking, gosh, I'm golden. Or no, I was saving so much money on it. And so the next morning, I showed up at the airport thinking, good, it's a plane, right? What could go wrong, right? Right? Wait for it. Again, that was one of those moments, how did I survive kind of thing. So I met another girl who's supposed to be a passenger, and then we're standing there and waiting and waiting and waiting. They said the 3rd passenger is really late. And so at this point, the pilot came out and started yelling at us. He goes, why are you not going to the plane? And we're like, well, they said to wait. There's another passenger. He's like, well, we cannot wait any longer. So the passenger comes in, and he is drunk. This guy, I'm thinking, dude, you're in a Muslim country. Like, seriously, like, what happened? What was so important that you had to get wasted before flying the next morning? I mean, he was literally like somebody was dragging him, and like they load him on us, and we had to drag him on the plane. So anyways, so finally we got on the little bus, and then they said, we're going to take you to the plane. I never did cargo planes before, so I'm waiting. And so we're in that minibus, and we're driving and driving and driving, and the airport is huge. And apparently, a lot of companies have their cargo planes, and they vary in sizes. They go from bigger to smaller. And so finally, the bus stopped, and they said, that's your plane. And I look over, and that plane is small, like very small. And I said, is that our plane? They said, yes. Okay, fine. So we go to it. We drag the drunk guy out. And so we get there. And the plane is like really small. I feel claustrophobic just by standing next to it. And I'm like, oh, how do you get in? And then they go, you need to like duck under and crawl on all 4. And I'm in like a mini skirt like this. And then they said, and then you just climb in there. I said, okay. I did that. I crawled in. Then you crawl inside the plane, and you're right where the pilot is. Like literally, like all the buttons and everything. And there is that hole behind you which you crawled in. And then they said, you have to like sprawl like this. So they're going to close that behind you. And I said, well, where do we sit? There is 4 seats and a table and nothing else like there. And here's the pilot. And there are 2 co-pilots. So at this point, I start feeling really uneasy. There's like no buckle seats, nothing. Like, okay. And then there is like literally a wardrobe in there. And one of the co-pilots was making Russian soup, borscht. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm making our lunch, like making soup on the plane. I'm like, oh, it's really not a good idea. So anyways, we sat down. I feel very claustrophobic. This guy is sleeping. He's drunk. Me and the other girl, we're just like, I'm like, is that your first time on cargo plane? She goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah. Anyways, but we're Russians. We don't say no. We don't walk, in the middle of it. Like if I am claustrophobic, I don't just get off. Like, no, I have to stuck it up. We never reached the communism. So I'm thinking at least I can reach my destination, right, on the plane. So they're on the runway. And they started moving, and then they stopped. And then the main pilot does this, and then the other co-pilot does this, and the other guy does this. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like making sure there's no other planes taking off. And I said, well, don't you have an equipment which shows you? They're like, no, that's an old plane. We don't know. We don't have that button, so we just watch. Oh, my God. That was the time when I asked for a cigarette. And by that time, I was not even a smoker. So I'm like, I need something. I don't want to drink because I don't want anybody to drag me out, but like, I need something. So we took off and we were flying. We were so dangerously low over mountains. There was like Georgian mountains and something else, like literally going like, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I think I remembered all the Russian prayers I knew, and I was not even like a church goer, but I remembered like a lot of them. And at some point, I was drinking coffee, and I was so nervous. And then I told the guys, I told the co-pilot, I said, can I use the bathroom? And they all kind of look at each other. They're like, do you really need to go? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I need to go because we have like another 1.5 hours. They're like, okay. And one of them like, I'll show you where it is. I'm like, okay. He goes, that door. It's a door. That's fine. So I opened the door. Oh, and he said, the door doesn't lock, so you have to hold it. And I was thinking, I'm Russian. I can handle that, right? Well, I opened the door, and then I realized what he was talking about. So the door is not locked, so it's like open and close. And then there was rope and a bucket on a rope. And I'm like, okay, but I really, really have to go. Really have to go. So the logistics of it was you have to hold the bucket and the door. And at some point you have to take your clothes out. So it was something like this. I was doing a lot of that. So when I came out of there, they they had like a whole new respect for me. They're like, yeah, she did it. I'm pretty sure my hair was messed up. I was pretty sure like my clothes were all turned around. I'm like, hey, the bucket didn't tip. I did it. I don't know. With the way how that it was going, I was surprised nothing like leaked out under that door because, oh my God. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Once I was an interpreter for the same group, like we were doing the group of people. So we take Russian people, we bring them to Dubai for a week. They do their shopping. They stay there. They do all the touristy stuff, and then we take them back. And so when I was on the plane once, I actually saved a guy. He almost died because apparently he had he started getting a migraine. And then he said that his blood pressure is really high. And apparently one of the flight attendants said, well, he needs to get a shot. Like if he will get some pain relief shot, then it will stop the migraine so that his blood pressure will stop. They're like, because otherwise he's gonna like literally collapse or something. And I'm like, okay, we'll give him a shot. And the flight attendants go, we're not nurses. And I said, I'm a nurse because I actually have nursing background from Russia. So I said, come here, I'll give you a shot. Everything is fine. So everybody was very proud of me. When we would walk back, I give him a shot. We walked back, he felt better. Everybody like applauded me. So it was really nice that I saved his life. I'm pretty sure it was because people were drinking and smoking on the plane. We had a guy from the same agency who actually flew next week because we're rotating the weeks. They had a person died on the plane. And this guy, the interpreter, his name was Sasha, he was telling me like, oh my God. I said, what? He goes, so this guy doesn't feel good. And his friend stand up and he said, guys, could you please stop smoking on the plane? And everyone's like, get out of here, we're having a good time. And he's like, no, he's really like, this guy doesn't feel good. The smoke is not really helping. Could you guys please stop? And they're like, get out of there. So he went and he talked to the pilot and co-pilot. And so the pilot came out and he said, guys, stop drinking and smoking. And they actually hit him, the pilot. So the pilot crawled back so he can still drive the plane. And the other guy died. Yeah, scary. So I'm thinking, hey, I saved the person because apparently like being in Russian tourist agency or industry was very rough that time. So Serena is offering way better service than that. At least I hope so. No, actually, okay. Serena and I, we have a master plan because you know when you do something, you always have to think what could be better, right? You always have to look in the future. So I would never stop saying that, oh, I'm going to do this performance and that's it. No, we have big plans. We actually working with her in collaboration, hoping that we can get enough people for a cruise going to Russia. And I can actually be an interpreter on that cruise or I can perform on that cruise too. So if you guys ever have nothing to do And you decide, what else could I do, which I never done before. I did Florida and I did Las Vegas. Let's go to Russia. And I'll tell you, I don't drink. There is a reason why I don't drink. I get dangerous when I'm drinking. I don't drink, but I'm like awesome person to travel with. And like I'm fun. And Serena is fun. And I'm thinking we can actually have the group going. One of my friends said that she might come up with 10 people at least. So if you guys really would be serious about it or even think about it, or you have any other tourism related questions, Serena is your girl right there. I wanted to get her on stage, but do I get on stage? You want to? Come on. Come on, say something. Tell them the truth, so I'm not making this up.
The truth.
The truth.
There's various
Who
shades
are
of
you?
truth.
Yes.
I'm Serena Newbacher. I own a cruise planner travel agency here in town. We work all across the country, send you all 7 continents. So if you want to play with the penguins in Antarctica, we can do that. If you want
Go to Russia.
go
Play
to
with
Russia.
bears in Russia.
Play with the bears in Russia, but you got to protect me because I'm a big wuss.
Yes.
With
I'll,
bears?
I'll protect you.
You protect.
I protect
She
you.
protects me. She's
Yeah.
my Russian. She's my Russian bestie. But yeah, we do it all. So we are trying to get together enough people who would be interested in doing a cruise to Russia. I think that's something that'd be very, very fun.
Very unique.
Very unique. So for the people that have done it all, this is something that we could.
You
definitely
didn't do me yet. Go on. Thank you, sweetie. All right, anyways, back to the program, guys. Yeah, thanks, Serena. She's awesome. By the way, I specifically went to the Russian store today, and I bought for you guys, there was candies on the table. There is, some of the candies are Middle Eastern candies, but this is what we eat in Russia. And there are some Russian candies. Please come up and try it and eat it, take some home. I was hooking you up, guys. Just saying. You already had one? Oh, those kids, huh? Now you can have one. Well, after the show, how about just like 10 more minutes, be quiet, and then you're done. When I was talking about theater, I wanted to do something special for you guys. I wanted to do something, monologue or something. And so I was online searching, and I found a perfect thing for you guys to read. So just imagine it's a woman with a heavy Russian accent, right? So here it goes. Steve, by now you realize that I am leaving you, okay? I am making this tape for you so you know that you didn't do something wrong or anything, or you don't think that, the romance of our relationship faded. No, Steve. I also don't want you to think that I'm one of those Russian internet brides who come and marry those pathetic rich Americans and then they leave them. No, Steve. The reason why I am leaving you is because I gathered all the intelligentsia, all the information I needed, and my handlers are recalling me back to my country. I realize this probably came as a shock for you, considering our 8 years of marriage. And yeah, I know, but surely you probably got some hints about our marriage, and you probably thought that something was wrong. How would you ever think that sexy and talented woman like me will end up with a grumpy nerdman like you? No, and for your information, Steve, I don't like model trains. Nobody's interested in model trains. I know what you say. You say that, well, how about Jim and Brenda? They were coming and playing with those model trains for hours, right? Well, I have news for you, Steve. They work for my country, too. As long as I'm coming out right now, I actually speak a perfect English. And I'm not Russian, I'm sorry. And the Russian government was not spying on you for years. I work for a Norwegian government because we have very extended intelligence services. And by the way, I'm taking Sam and Julie and the baby with me because I'm sorry for that, honey, but they have my genes. So they're technically a property of the Norwegian country, right? Of the government. But they're going to be fine, honey. Don't worry. They're going to have a very bright future with the secret services in my country. Well, I'm off. I'll always care about you in my own way. But I gave my heart a long time ago to His Majesty King Harold. And, oh, honey, I forgot to mention that I have a lot of hiding spots around the house. I did remove all the computer disks and the microfilms, but I didn't deactivate the booby traps. So if I were you, I wouldn't open anything or reach anything anywhere. And actually, on the second thought, why don't you move to a different house? That would be safer. So yeah, sorry about your whole life being a lie and everything. My bad. I'm sure you're gonna find a nice girl, and I'm sure you're gonna get remarried. As long as you lower your expectations like quite a bit, you're gonna be fine. Okay, well, adios, auf Wiedersehen, and thanks for all the governmental secrets. All right, how you guys doing? You want to hear a couple more stories, and then I promise to let you go. So I was getting ready for this performance, and my daughter, who is 8 years old, she said, "Mama, you have to tell them something about us." And I was thinking, that's kind of sweet. She's thinking about me, and I'm thinking, well, it's kind of Russian story related. She's part Russian, right? So we're on topic. So I decided I'm going to share a couple stories with you. When my daughter was an infant, and I'm talking about 6 months probably. I mean, I was scared of her the moment she was born, first of all. But she totally scared me when she was 6 months old, and she was taking a nap in her room, in her crib. And then I heard that she woke up. I heard her on the radio. So I opened the door to her bedroom, and I freaked out because her crib was in the middle of the room. And I was thinking, what happened? Like, seriously, did somebody came and move my child's crib? What's going on? And she's sitting there happy-go-lucky, And then I kind of started looking over because a lot of things were misplaced. And I thought maybe it's some terrorist attack or something. I don't know. Well, I realized that all the wallpaper, which were in one corner, was very methodically peeled, like ripped off. We're talking about like hours of work. She was only her nap was only a couple hours. She literally destroyed the whole corner worth of wallpaper. Then what happened? She probably sat in her crib, put her legs through the bars, and realized that her crib is moving. So she pushed away from one wall, reached over to the changing table, got every diaper out, and ripped it apart. Like literally, it was like snowing from that gel thingy from the diapers. Then I think she was traveling a lot, pushing herself away from the walls. So, and this is how she ended up in the middle of the room. So, and that was 6 months child. I am still scared of her. Every time she's trying to kiss me or being nice to me, I'm like, whoa, I'm very nervous. She goes, "Mom, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "I love you, honey." Yeah, she did that. She loves that story. And then my son, he's very talented. This particular story, I'm going to tell on his wedding. I don't have any footage of it, unfortunately. I was laughing so hard, I didn't even think of videotaping or anything. So when my son was a baby, I put him to sleep. I don't remember what he ate that day, but he was wearing diapers still. But I heard he was crying in his bedroom. So I opened the door, and in the dark, I don't see him yet, but I smell. I'm thinking, it's a baby. The baby pooped in the diaper. Not a big deal, right? So I switch on the light. And it took me a second to realize what happened. So my child is sitting in the crib, on his knees, all covered in poop. We're talking about literally top, face. I mean, he cannot even open his eyes, the poop everywhere here. And I'm like, what? What? How did that happen? Well, apparently, I figured it out. So he was sleeping on his belly. And when he pooped, the wave of it was so strong. So it came out from the back and covered like a tsunami, went this way. But then because he was on his belly, it hit him in the nose from here. And oh my God, I was laughing so hard. I'm just standing, and he cannot even open his eyes. And he's just screaming. So I'm like, well, what can I do? I fished him out, and I took him in the shower, right? And then I started like with water, just start rinsing him up. So then he went ballistic on me because he's like in clothes, and I'm showering him. It was hilarious. Like I'm like, do I need to take a picture or do I need to start washing him? Because that's going to dry out very soon. So I went with like mommy's instinct. I really wish I had the picture and the video because nobody will believe me. He's like, no, mom, I didn't do it. I'm like, dude, you were so talented. Like, who does that? Who can poop themselves in the face? Seriously. Anyone? Anyone? Never done that, but he did. So, that's for my kids. I'll tell them I talked about them and embarrass them, and that story goes on his wedding for sure. Robbie Phelps' wedding story. Pooping face. I always finish my performance by saying, there should be a message here, like just besides blah, blah, blah. I always trying to bring you a message, and I'm trying to be a messenger from Russia. So I always tell people how to deal with Russian people. Because, yeah, we're the same, and people are people, blah, 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 be kind, got it. But there are certain things, I feel like if you know those things, you're actually going to be prepared, right? So I call it, this part of my spiel always called Russians 101, like handle with care. So first of all, you guys have to realize Russian people are extreme. There is no golden middle. There is no like a little bit. Like my husband, I always tell him, I'm so fat. And he goes, honey, portion control. And I'm like, what? I'm Russian. I eat myself till death or I starve myself. Like there is no in between. Like he offends me when he says portion control. He does that. He's like, did you check on the package? And I'm like, oh, it's like how many packages I eat. Or next day I'm starving. I'm like, I am cleansing myself. So this is what you guys have to know. So when we complain, you just have to realize the advice is like, take it easy or think. No, like we're super lazy or we're like working ourselves to grave. You don't drink, I don't drink. Or if I start drinking, I'll meet you under the table. That's why I don't drink. When during my drinking ages, thank God there were no cell phones. I would be the YouTube star and not for the good reasons. So yeah, I'm like, my kids don't know. I'll tell them a little bit, but I usually sugarcoat it, I start telling them some things. My daughter said, Mommy, you were smoking. I'm like, oh, honey, yeah, that's the least of your worries. Anyways, another thing, if you ever give a Russian person, a woman, definitely a woman, flowers, make sure it's not even numbers. Oh my God. In Russian culture, even numbers of flowers only for funeral and graveyard. We get so offended here when you go to Myers and there is 12 roses. We buy those 12 and we put one and put it aside. My husband is like, why there is always one rose single there? He was trying to put it back. I'm like, bad mojo, for my whole entire life. You might as well break the mirror. That's okay. I'll handle the bad luck for 7 years. But even amount of flowers, there's always 1 rose, 3 roses, etc., etc. Oh, it's like painful for us, in this country. You get flowers and we're like, thank you. He wants me to die. There's 10 roses in there. Yeah, so only uneven amount, right? Another thing, never ever whistle in the buildings when you in front of Russian people. It's killing me. I was raised, do not. I'll put the curse on you. No, Okay, elementary kids. Okay, guys, I know your specialty teachers, Mr. Metz and Mr. Wright,
Wait,
Yeah,
I know Mr. Madsen.
exactly. He's your teacher.
No.
So do not whistle. They're my buddies, okay? So, okay, shh. It's okay. Anyways, the reason why we don't whistle in any buildings, in the house, the strong belief behind it that anytime you whistle, my money goes down the drain. So you guys don't care about it. So you whistle, I am like, you killing me. Seriously. You might as well, I can be a vampire. You might as well put the sunlight on me. So my father-in-law, deceased right now, but when he found out that I don't like whistling, he'll come to my house and he'll whistle and whistle and whistle. And I'm like, I love you so much, Dad. Not my country. Oh, my husband knew that. Like even he, when my kids does that, he's like, wait till your mom's out. I'm like, I can be out of the house. There is a reason why we don't have money. Stop whistling. Seriously. Like if you whistle here, the Windwalker's money goes down the drain. Stop. I can see you guys. Some of you. So another thing, do not ask Russian women her age. It's very inappropriate in my country. Very inappropriate. The same how we don't ask them if they're pregnant. In my culture, they hide pregnancy up to the day they are like delivering. And when you see a pregnant woman, you still don't ask her if she's pregnant. Like literally, you do not ask when is the baby due, because what if she's fat? And then we believe in the bad, like evil eye and all this. So we literally believe when people pay attention to your pregnancy, they're like involuntarily cursing your child, So yeah, we ignore it. We ignore it. Like the girl was standing in front of you, her belly is going to be pressing you against the wall. You're still going to be talking about something else. Nope, you don't talk about pregnancy. Do not ask us what we eat. Oh my God. It was very, like, I'm at lunch break, and I brought my food. And then, like, my friends in college, they're like this. What is this? With their noses in my food. And I'm like, ooh, what are you doing? And they're like, what are you eating? It stinks. Oh, so wrong for me on so many levels. First of all, do not ask me, what am I eating, unless you want me to share it with you. Seriously. Like, why are you asking? Second of all, I might be eating something gross. Why are you asking? And then I literally start cooking the gross things. I'm like, kidneys. They're like, ugh. I'm like, fish heads. Ugh. Well, we like chicken hearts. Yeah, don't ask. Never. Another thing, hopefully kids would not understand right now, but when you listen to Russian people talk and you hear the word kak a lot, that means how and what. So do not go what? Oh, they're weird. What are they saying? It's actually a very, very, very important word in our grammar. It's like a key question word. So when we talk with my friends and I see Americans go like, what did they just say? Yeah, it's interesting. Linguistic stuff is really interesting. So, all right. That is it for my show. I do have one story for you. That's my favorite. That's the story happened when I just came to United States. I'll tell you that, and you guys good to go and eat Russian candies. How about that? All right, so the story was, I was in Grand Rapids. I just moved to Grand Rapids, started driving a car, and I went to the shopping mall. And so it was winter time. I had heavy coat. I went shopping, and then I had a lot of shopping bags. And I get distracted. So I'm the person who doesn't remember where the car is. I have to go and look for it. Or I don't remember where you walked into shopping mall. And when you have to exit, it's a big difference sometimes. That time, I walked into the shopping mall, and I remember some of the doors were under construction. So when I was done shopping, I was thinking, which door did I came in and what doors are closed and under construction? And so while I was thinking, I see this group of people, 5 of them, walking really fast. And I was thinking, oh, they know where the door is, right? So they walk really fast, and I walk behind them really fast with shopping bags, heavy coat, red chicks by this point. And they kind of they're walking and walking. And then one of the ladies start looking back, and they spit up. And I was thinking, well, that's rude. They know where the door is. I am following them, but who else would walk so fast, right? People who knows where the door is. And I'm thinking, and that's kind of rude because instead of waiting for me, they're like going faster. So I picked up the pace. At this point, I am out of breath. And I am like literally so hot. And my cheeks are not even red at this point. It's like that blue-violet color, you know. But I am keeping up the pace. And then I realized that we passed all the doors like 3 times. And I'm like, what is wrong with those people? While we were doing the extra circle in the mall, I recognized the door I came in, and I was so pissed. I'm like, whatever. I just turned around, went to my car, came to my apartment, and I had the Russian roommate. And I said, Marina, I said, that is the weirdest thing. I said, there was those people in the mall, and they were almost running. I thought they knew where the door is, and I was following them. And she looked at me, and she goes, oh, my God, you're so dumb. She goes, it's mall walkers. I'm like, what? What does that even mean? She goes, it's a sport. I'm like, what? In the mall? Don't you do sport on the stadium or outside? Oh my God, when I told her that story, she was just dying laughing. She goes, you are so lucky they didn't call 911. So that's the end of my story. Thank you so much, guys.